Hello, this is Meg McCarthy for the CherryPicks. I'm here at the Athleta store on Main Street in Park City for the 2023 Sundance Film Festival with the amazing team behind the beautiful and fun film, The Persian Version. Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
Good. We're having fun. How are you?
Good. I'm having fun. I'm having a blast. I mean, this is such a treat for me, like talking to inspiring women like yourselves. It's a dream come true, truly.
Thanks for having us.
Of
Thank you.
course. Let's start with you. Talk to me about celebrating the female Iranian American experience, not only through depth of character in this film, but through a sensory experience. Music, dance, a vibrant palette.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do this story about my family. My parents immigrated in the late 60s, and I wanted to show the three generations of women and their resilience. But I wanted to do it as a comedy. So it was a lot of music, dancing. Pop music is a big thing in my film. I was born in New York, but I also traveled a lot to Iran. So I used to smuggle Michael Jackson and Cyndi Lauper and Prince into Iran. And it would merge and everyone would start dancing. And in America, we used to listen to Iranian pop music of Gugush. And we would, even though we went through hard economic times, the community would get together and have a sense of joy. So I really wanted to show women's resilience, but more than anything, joy and this ability to have that no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, beautiful. I also would love to know if Layla searched for sort of balance between herself and her cultural identity. Did it mirror your journey as a filmmaker to find truth through your art?
Definitely. I think where part of art is trying to understand who we are and how we fit into this world. And I think after 9/11, people from my part of I'm Iranian American, I grew up Muslim. I think this identity was put upon us about what it meant to be Muslim or what it meant to be from that part of the world. And this is kind of my reclaiming from from interior space of telling the world what we're about through family connections, love, loss, all the universal themes that we all go through. And I wasn't going to accept that identity that was put on me. Yeah. And this is a much more complex one, Layla's queer, but she also comes from, a Muslim family. She's connected to the culture, but she feels outside of it. It's a constant negotiation. I don't think we need to reject where we're from, even if it sometimes is a challenging position. I think we have to find how it works for us the best, and we can keep elements of our identity and redefine them. And that's what Layla does in the film. She synthesizes all those elements, but without rejecting them.
It's beautiful, and I think that identity is this we always tend to get boxed in, specifically as women, and identity is ever changing, and we're allowed to rediscover ourselves and never let that go. So
exactly, and I think the women are always being accused of being selfish in every generation. It's like, I guess maybe we got to be selfish to be who we are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Deal with it.
Exactly. I think at the end they're just like, yeah, we are. So what's your problem?
Mm-hmm. So, I love that. Yeah. Ladies in the back, you play mother and daughter in the film. One of the most complex relationships on the planet. How did you work together to navigate their complicated and layered relationship? Whoever would like to start.
How did we, it was so interesting working with her because she's so phenomenal and so giving as a scene partner and so genuine. And I don't know if we had our own processes. We had to, I think overall, I don't know if we actually really talked about how we're going to do anything together. We both really had a good understanding of the character. We talked about, just to make sure we're on the same page as certain dynamics. But overall, we had prepared, we had done the work, and when we came together on the scene, it just kind of happened because I knew where I was feeling and what I was doing. She knew she had done the work, and it just flowed so naturally on set. And of course, Maryam's direction too, and the notes that she was giving, it was just easy. It was really easy working with her, and
lovely.
I really am grateful for that.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Okay, no, but same. She's incredible, and I know everyone who's watched it knows that now. Also, Maryam didn't want us to be super close before filming, so I met her really close before we left to go to Turkey to start. And I was in a place with all the boys, and she had her own place, so we didn't really get close outside of set until we went to New York, and it was just us two, and we realized we are the same human being and just as neurotic and crazy in preparation for the film. But I was saying earlier, I mean, when it wasn't even my coverage, she was making me cry. It was just the way that she opened her heart and showed how strong of a woman Maryam's mother was. She was phenomenal, and I just am honored to know you and work with you. And Maryam, I love you, and I'm honored.
This is my favorite thing, but just about supporting and uplifting each other. And it feels like you created such a safe and joyful space.
And that was so important for me. It's like I cast actors who are awesome, but talented, but also who would put aside their ego and become part of a family. And they're being modest. There was lots of, also rehearsal, because their dynamic, although they didn't spend a lot of time together alone, their dynamic is about two women surrounded by a whole shit ton of men. There's a lot of men in the film. There's 7, in real life 7, but in the film 8 brothers. And I think we did a lot of rehearsal so that also we could have the humor of the backdrop of these two women battling. And I think all those elements help situate their relationship, because I think by creating a very realistic family for them to exist in, they could do their sparring in a more supportive environment.
Yes, which is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Bella, let's talk about the entertainment industry has been such a boys' club for so long. What was your experience working with these incredible women and feeling sort of that female energy on and off camera?
It was very organic for me. I didn't struggle. I have a feeling that the mic has to follow me, not me following it.
I like that. I like that. Yes.
Anyway, it was very organic, and there was no struggle for me. It was so easy to work with Maryam. She knew what she wanted, but she didn't bother us. She didn't, with her desires. So
I'm just guiding them gently.
Yes, a lot of organic feelings, and she what do you call it? The grandma, the Mamanjun, was not a typical grandma that you're familiar with. She changed her somehow. She changed her for me because I was allowed to, as a grandmother, as a woman in that age, to say how she feels and relay that to her granddaughter. Maybe she couldn't do that to her own daughter, but she kind of deconstructed it and gave it to her granddaughter. She was allowed to do that, which I think a lot of grandmothers do, but nobody talks about it.
Now I think you're a taboo-breaking character. I mean, I think talking about...
hope so.
Yeah, I think so
talking
too.
about sexuality in a way that's unabashed. And actually, I had talked to, I did the audition process. I remember talking to several actresses, and some of them were like, "Oh my God, we can't say that. It'll show us badly." But actually, that was my grandmother. She was the biggest potty mouth I've ever met. But because now she was the matriarch, and for once she had that power, maybe that she wouldn't have done with her own daughter, but passing it on to the grandchildren, I think she has let go of a lot of the societal expectations and just navigating what's true to her. And I love how Bella plays her as such a badass and so much fun, and as a woman who's sexual and likes sex. And
No,
I think
it's
that's
so important. I mean,
and you don't see older women ever talking about sex or
No.
liking it. So
no, you do not, and it's so underrepresented.
Right.
So I'm so thankful, because I think too, we have multi-generations here, right? So I'm excited for. I would love to watch this movie with my grandmother and my nieces, and and then have those discussions afterwards, because they're so important. And
I was amazed how many people at the Q&A were like, "I'm gonna bring my daughter." I was like, "Oh, really? Cool." I was like, "I hope it's not too much cursing. Sorry." Fuck, too much cursing. Oh shit, sorry.
No, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you've been celebrating each other and yourselves, and just thank you for creating that safe space for this magic to happen. And it sounds like there's a lot of trust, and that's rare. And I think we're going in that direction where it becomes more of the norm.
Right.
But
And we're
thank
glad
you.
that people are dancing their way out of the theater. So
Yes!
that was important for us.
Absolutely.
I hope people like the music.